You're listening to a main feed episode. Go to patreon.com/Celtic Ligers where €5 a month gets you weekly full-length episodes, stray bonus content and access to the back catalogue. Also helps cover hosting and gives us money for sweeties. Thank you. Celtic Ligers.
Recorded on April 1st, 2023. Just kidding, April's Fool. 2024, ha ha ha.
Sorry,
Okay.
the niece and nephew are down there,
Oh, lovely.
so I got distracted.
Your uncle's got to go up and do his podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to play? No. I've got to go up here and
Yeah.
do my
But hey,
podcast.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome to Celtic Ligers.
So Jeffrey Donaldson has been arrested.
Is he actually arrested?
Yeah. He's been charged. He's under bail.
It's actually so embarrassing that this is a very exciting story, and because it's Northern Ireland politics, my brain refuses to give a shit about it.
Yeah.
I feel so bad that I do not care at all, and I really do try sometimes, but then you're just like, fuck it, who cares?
You just have
Who
to
gives a
lock in.
fucking hoot, man.
You could just do what I was doing to you at the Bambie Gardens, you can do to me. You be the Jeremy Paxman.
All right, cool. So, Northern Ireland, what's it all about?
Yeah. What's
Hey,
that?
James, what's the story with Northern Ireland?
Yeah. It's the story of compromise, between two parties. It's just the best outcome. Yeah. It's sort of like Israel-Palestine. Like, there's no right side. It's just...
Do you know anything about the North, or are you just... You know stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
So, to me, so Jeffrey Donaldson is the leader of the DUP,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know how much you know about Northern Ireland, but so for the past few years they've had no government in Stormont. Stormont is
Yes.
their parliament. There's been no government, because of a lot of stuff. But then the parties agreed to come back, sit in Stormont, but Sinn Féin and DUP. Sinn Féin they're the largest party in Northern Ireland. So they're going to be, because of power sharing, there's a minister, first minister and a deputy first minister.
Okay.
And the story was that, so Michelle O'Neill's first minister, and then the story was that Jeffrey Donaldson, who's the head of the party, he wouldn't be deputy first minister because it would be too bad for his career to admit that he's gone into power. So they got an unelected official, can't remember her name, to be deputy first prime minister.
Right.
So they've been in power together for about 8 weeks. And then
I was just thinking, you were like, things that are bad for his career. And it was like, it would be so bad for my career if I was to be the deputy first minister. It's like, there's another thing that would be really bad for your career as well, actually.
Yeah. So then, a few days ago, before the weekend, Jeffrey Donaldson deleted all his social media. And was going to step down as leader of the party because he was put under investigation for what was it? Allegations of historical nature. And then it was like sexual allegations of a historical nature.
Yeah.
And it was like, the way it was reported, it was like a 61-year-old was arrested and a 57-year-old woman. And his wife's 57. So it's basically he and his wife being arrested and like put on bail to 2 separate locations.
Really?
One of them was in, I think apparently because they're in same trial, they can't be like sent to the same location. So one of them's in London and one's in Belfast. And
one of them was like, I got to go to London Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. You know what I mean? Just like,
Yeah, they're fighting over where to
this
go.
in fucking Belfast. Sucks, man. See my house.
That's sort of the story. So he's stood down. There's a new chap in charge.
I like when they say historic, though. They were like, oh, they're of historic nature. So one is like, this is actually Mark Maloney saying this, you know, historic as in, yeah, it happened in the past, so they're actually legal now, you know. And the other one, the historic nature is also like, that happened ages ago. It's historic. It's a fucking, you're talking about yesterday. You're talking about, you know, I'm looking at the future. Where I'm going to be planning to do more crimes against minors. Allegedly.
It's just mental that he got arrested.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking of the DUP. It'd be like Varadkar getting arrested. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're so in with the police.
Yeah.
These people in power that you don't ever really expect them to get charged with anything. Particularly the DUP.
The DUP is so dysfunctional that you feel like they'd find a way, you know? It's like...
what?
Nothing, just like, you know, we're not supposed to get arrested, and then the DUP are like, hold my beer, as the tweet goes.
Hold my freaking beer.
Yeah. What was I going to say about fucking Jeffrey Donaldson?
So his mentor, I think we were talking about this, is Enoch Powell.
Yeah, that was funny.
So basically they're saying it was child abuse, is what it is.
Yeah.
Is what he did. And then I sent you that article from The Village. And they were like, Enoch Powell's... Jeffrey Donaldson was the mentee of Enoch Powell. What did I say?
What do you mean?
Donaldson used to work for Enoch Powell. It was like one of the most vile racists in English history.
Yeah, he delivered one of the most famous racist speeches in British politics. So I'll be watching my Novara media diligently. Which maybe it goes a long way to explaining my ambivalence to Northern Ireland. If I'm a Novara media watcher. I was telling you this, that the most insane thing was that, you know, I was watching Novara media, it's a weeknightly show, and they started off talking about Eurovision, which we should talk about. But they also ended talking about AI art. Could we write episodes of Casualty? And it's like, you know, with the computer. Imagine.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're really not going to talk about Jeffrey Donaldson being arrested. Like, they really did not care at all, you know?
Yeah, they have no interest, it seems like.
Really not. But anyway, Enoch Powell did a speech called the Rivers of Blood speech, which is gets evoked a lot whenever you're trying to talk about the most racist a politician is being. It's like, it's giving in a fucking Rivers of Blood speech. Although when you read the Rivers of Blood speech, I wouldn't say it's tame. It's pretty fucking apocalyptic and grim.
He actually makes some good points.
The sentiment is openly expressed by our media nowadays without any hesitation.
What's he saying?
Here is a decent, ordinary fellow Englishman who in broad daylight in my own town says to me, his member of parliament, that the country will be not worth living in for his children. I simply do not have the right to shrug my shoulders and think about something else. What he is saying, thousands and hundreds of thousands are saying and thinking. Not throughout Great Britain, perhaps, but in the area that are already undergoing the total transformation to which there is no parallel in 1,000 years of English history. We must be mad, literally mad as a nation, to be permitting the annual flow of some 50,000 dependents, who are for the most part the material of the future growth of the immigrant-descended population. It is like watching a nation busily engaged in heaping up its own funeral pyre. So insane are we that we actually permit unmarried persons to immigrate for the purpose of founding a family with spouses and fiancés whom they have never seen.
Maddie McGrath gets done for plagiarism.
Yeah. Fucking Maddie McGrath. Like, this is like, you know... Yeah. Anyway,
Where's the rivers of blood?
Huh?
Where's the rivers of blood?
Yeah, false advertising. There it is here. Let me just get it. I'm only reading a section off of Wikipedia. But yeah, it's basically like migrants are coming over. And I hate that. And where is this? This is my fucking mind here. Just wish, could they just have like the one? Oh, here it is. Full text of the speech. Now, Control F. Blood.
Oh man, classic
Imagine-
reference
Yeah.
to a
Imagine
skit.
imagine a certain dark lord rubbing his little hands together at the idea of a river of blood, huh?
Yeah, Simon Harris did make a good speech. You know, that was a great speech by Simon Harris.
Damn. For these dangerous and divisive elements, the legislation proposed in the race relations bill is the very pablum they need to flourish. Here is the means of showing that the immigrant communities can organize to consolidate their members, to agitate and campaign against their fellow citizens, and to overawe and dominate the rest with the legal weapons which the ignorant and the ill-informed provided. As I look ahead, I am filled with foreboding. Like the Roman, I seem to see the river Tiber foaming with much blood. That's what he said.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. And they hounded him out of office for this, did they?
That's it. I know. People say that politics is so toxic today, but people have always been hounded out of office for their political views.
Yeah. Interesting. He was played by Enoch Powell. There was a play called Watch Shadows, and he was portrayed by Ian McDiarmid, who plays Darth Sidious in the Star Wars prequels.
So, the other thing about Enoch Powell, according to the Village article, is he was a notorious paedophile.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
I don't know. No, I'm not saying that. The Village. Oh wait, he's dead.
Village is saying
He's
that.
dead.
Yeah.
So he was.
Yeah.
You can't slander the dead, isn't that what they say? He's associated with so there's a school in the north, Kincora Boys Home.
Yeah.
Which was like historically associated with abuse. And a lot of the victims were like, you know, lots of politicians are coming in basically. And like Enoch Powell or Jeffrey Donaldson was, whenever Enoch Powell would come to Northern Ireland, and he came frequently, I think he might have ended up as a unionist politician in Northern Ireland.
Yeah?
I think so.
Oh, that makes sense.
So he's over like every weekend. Donaldson.
You're right. Yeah, he was. He was in the Ulster Unionist Party.
Yeah, Donaldson, who was also in the party at the time, was his driver. So like he knew what was going on. Well, maybe he didn't, but he did.
Maybe he did, allegedly.
Well, if
I
you're
don't know. I'm
driving
trying
someone around the place in Northern Ireland, where you're from, it's hard to imagine.
I'm just looking up again Wikipedia because I want to find the section that says prolific sex crimes so that we can be bulletproof. Because if it's on Wikipedia, that means that it's real. Political beliefs. Doesn't have any pedophile stuff there. Enoch Powell, more like Enoch Pedo. Yeah. Pedophile. Enoch Powell implicated in Westminster pedophile ring, according to Anna Delu Ajanzi. Tory MP Enoch Powell in 2015 this is the Independent in the UK, investigated as alleged member of Westminster paedophile network. That's the other thing, is maybe Jeffrey Donaldson really is a Brit, you know?
Why?
Because he's a pedo.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No Irish people are paedophiles.
No. Well, nobody takes to paedophilia with such rigor as the British establishment.
I'd say it's the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. So in Ireland, the paedophilia is extremely rigorous, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, there are places you go, you know, they basically like structured society around paedophilia. Whereas in England, it's like, it just happens casually. It happens in like the boarding schools. Happens in Westminster.
Those were created specifically for that purpose, and that part of that is
that's in Ireland though. But I'm talking about in like Eton.
Yeah, I'm talking about Eden.
They weren't structured for paedophilia. It's just that the older lads are doing it to the younger lads.
Yeah, but isn't it all part of some sort of clandestine initiation ceremony, basically?
No, I don't think so. I think they just do it because they like it. It's just a bit of a perk. It's like it's like the way when you're in sixth year, you get to use a common room.
Okay.
You also get to like abuse the younger students.
Yeah.
And then in Westminster, it's like the same way. If you're staying late, you're allowed like ordering pizza and it's covered.
Pizza,
cheese pizza. You know, it's covered. You get it for free. You get it expensed. Same with the rent boys.
All right. A lot of people get really down a rabbit hole with all the pedophilia stuff, but I'm just kind of fall at the first hurdle. Like, it's not like I don't care about the idea of child abuse, but like, you know, when people see this stuff, like people like Epstein or whatnot, they just get obsessed with it, and it becomes like, so for some people it becomes like all they fucking think about all the time, and everything is viewed through this. Like the guys who go into like the bookshops and tear up books saying like, look at this is pedophilia, they're doing pedophilia, like this guy who I don't like, he's a pedophile, and they get it. Like pedophilia becomes like their whole thing, just as a kind of, and I'm not the act, but the obsession with it becomes like their hobby, essentially. They're just like, and I'm not like left or right. It goes across, you know, you'd have like Matt Christman going, or like the TrueAnon people who were at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, you know, stuff like this. Like where you really just become obsessed with the idea. But I don't know, it doesn't grip me in that same way.
I think it's just like, it is the worst thing you can do.
Absolutely.
And they just do it in such a weird way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so ritualized.
Yeah.
But like, it going back to the thing, it's so surprising to me that Donaldson got arrested in the way he did. Or, you know, he got charged the way he did. And it makes me wonder, like, what has changed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the DUP aren't, you know, they're diminishing as a party, their power, but they're not vanished by any means.
Well, Well, they're on the way out, aren't they? They're on like a massive decline. It's just
Like,
and they're having their.
they're
isn't
on
there,
a
like,
decline.
Other parties. Yeah.
But they're by far the largest unionist party. By far.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the other big ones, or the other vocal ones, are like the TUV. They're tiny. And then Progressive Unionist Party, they're pretty small as well. Then there's Alliance. I don't know much about them.
Is it like the royal family where it's like, well, they're kind of an institution. They're going to be around a while yet. They're, they're starting to show some wear and tear, and there's, basically it's just in decline. So stuff like this is going to start happening with more frequency. Maybe,
yeah. They just can't, yeah. That's it. That's what I'm wondering. Or like, I wonder if, so it's not like I'm in any way questioning the allegation. What I'm questioning is like why he's getting done for it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like it's people think he shouldn't have allowed the party to go back into power with Sinn Féin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like, is it an attempt by like other unionist groups, like non-elected ones, just unionist paramilitaries or unionist activist groups, to like discredit the DUP? Because the DUP have softened on a lot of stuff, which the hardliners obviously don't want.
Isn't there like, you remember that thing where they tried to do a meeting and all of the thing was being like recorded and leaked immediately?
So that's sort of what made me think about it. Because so what was happening there, I can't remember the guy's name, but he basically has his blog. His name's Jamie something.
Jamie? Yeah, what is that again?
Look him up.
Jamie, look that up.
He runs his
Bryson? Jamie Bryson?
Yeah, Jamie Bryson. He runs his blog. Like, he calls himself an activist. But basically, he runs this, like, essentially like us. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's about that size, not big. But he's associated with, like, some of the loyalist paramilitary groups. And apparently they've been trying to, like, promote him as a, like, as a loyalist voice, trying to make him more established. So for him, they organised someone else to wear a wire into the meeting. And then as the meeting was going on, it was like a meeting of the DUP. Jamie Bryson was like live tweeting the meeting. And like it eventually turned into like all these tweets that were like, people are aware that the meeting has been live tweeted.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out who did it. And then like the PSNI were called, and then people were like accusing the PSNI of leaking. And like all this has been live tweeted.
What information was there anything at this meeting of any kind of significance, or?
I don't think it was anything groundbreaking. I think it was like just discussions about going back into power. Or into government. And like that was an attempt of like legitimizing Jamie Bryson. So you'd wonder if the same groups just organised for Donaldson for like this historic allegation to be pulled up upon.
I mean, it's Ireland's small, and then Northern Ireland even smaller, and it's hard to imagine that these people. Yeah. I mean, especially with the framing of that Village article, to just go back to that idea of. This clandestine network of pedophiles operating. Like, that's the vibe that you get off of it. That there's, it's like the Prince Andrew, it's like Epstein, it's all these people connected in this network and kind of... And also an idea of, like, it's old school British shit as well, of compromat. Everybody's got compromat in each other. But you do wonder why now and why not like years ago. Even to be like, why now? You know, why weren't like, why didn't you pull the trigger on this ages ago? Why would you do it now?
So my only thinking, like this is pure speculation, but it's just because the UP have gone back into government, with Sinn Féin, and they've gone in as a smaller party for the first time in history. So maybe it's an attempt to stop that. You know, maybe they don't like that he's done this, or maybe they think that the UP is getting too soft on like Protestant values.
Yeah.
Because like part of the reason why the Stormont fell apart, it was for a few bits, but one was like the Irish Language Act, where Sinn Féin wanted like Irish language be like officially recognised and to be like, you know, basically if you go to Stormont to be like Irish language signs, all this sort of stuff. And like that was part of the reason why the government fell apart. So like there is a very strong anti-nationalist force, obviously, in Northern Ireland. So maybe they're just trying to get the unionist vote to go elsewhere, to like more hardline parties. I don't
know. I've seen a weird since Sinn Féin took power. I don't know what you say, but anyway, since they've been making all these, they went and they visited Lough Neagh, and made like all the right noises about saving Lough Neagh, but they were interviewing people for the news, and then you have this the person goes, well, you know, they said that they'd come here on the first day, and they did, so, and they just kind of shrugged. Like, but you get the feeling in Northern Ireland, from what I hear, is that people are like, the government is always. There was Stefan O'Neill who hosts a Trademark Belfast podcast, and he was on The Week at Work, which had a new episode yesterday, and they were talking about this. But it was a similar thing, like, you know, people down south are trying to be like, well, what does this mean? And then he's like, I don't know. Just kind of the shrug was this idea of like the Good Friday Agreement. Basically, it's built in that this government is just going to continually collapse until, you know, like there's these problems with the Good Friday Agreement amongst men, you know, which mean that they can never have a government that'll like last until some of these issues are dealt with. So people seem to be at this point where it's like just the idea of somebody showing up is kind of like, it's like, all right, well, that's something, I guess. Anyway, I guess the reason I brought that up at all is to be like, well, what's different now than before? And I think it's that you do see this kind of softening towards Sinn Féin, at least in the south, and I don't know if that's indicative of what's happening up in the north. But like, where
there's a softening
with Michelle O'Neill in particular. You know? Like there was always this thing where like we need to, you know, we might not like Arlene Foster, but we have to talk to her. And Sinn Féin are too dangerous. We can't talk to them. And, you know, IRA and all this. But now you're seeing the media down here be like, well, you know, to her credit, you know, they're doing this weird like. And I don't know whether that's indicative of a mood shift up there, but maybe that's what people are responding to, is that like the hostility seems to be like taking a sort of a back seat to like, I just want things to function and be normal. Okay? So like why? But anyway, clearly there's some sort of internal spat happening in the DUP, like it has been for ages, when there are like constant leadership battles and all this information getting leaked, and now something like this, and maybe it is to collapse the government and to keep instability, but it wouldn't be hard to collapse the government because it happens so fucking often. But I don't know. What is it? Is it just like buying time? Do you know? Is that it really? Do you know?
Could just be. trying to like put off the inevitable, you know.
Stefano Nulon was saying as well that something I didn't know. Maybe you did know this, but if they call a border poll, okay,
Yeah.
they do a border poll, and then once the first border poll has taken place, they have to do a border poll every 7 years.
Oh, I don't
after
know
that. Yeah. So he was saying it's likely that Sinn Féin would lose the first border poll, but they're determined to trigger it so that they can keep the border polls coming, you know?
Yeah.
And especially now with, like, you know, conservative parties, UK just in free fall, you know, a lot of the time. You basically got, like, you know, 2 Tory parties to choose from.
Yeah.
And neither of them gives a shit about the North.
No.
And then the DUP is just entirely dysfunctional. If you just keep making these creeping gains with Sinn Féin, just one person here, or even one person in the media going, fuck it, they're not that bad, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Like, then that's is an existential threat to the union. Because anything that just makes it slightly more possible that the first border poll could be called just makes it inevitable that a united Ireland eventually.
Yeah. It just, that's a good point. Yeah, like it seems like the way the population's going, the Catholics there's more Catholics in Northern Ireland than Protestants for the first time in history now.
Yeah.
And I suppose there's a fear that it's inevitably going to go towards a vote for United Ireland. Because the other thing is that, like, the Secretary for Northern Ireland, they said they were like, United Ireland can't happen without unionist consent. But that's not true. It's a simple majority. It's like a 51% majority is all that's needed.
Yeah.
So like, it's not, in one way, it's not hard to achieve.
Yeah.
You just need the vote to go the right way. It's a referendum.
Yeah, you just need to keep
it's not a
going at it
negotiation.
again and again and again until eventually, like, it's just, yeah. So they're kind of like, you know, you're kind of like, oh, we're losing people because of how dysfunctional, not normal we are. Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of just being like, maybe we should just try to be a little normal and we could try and win some people back.
Yeah.
Just to instinct is to go even more fucked up. But then again, that's kind of like, you know, almost out of their control when you have like this very militant faction within the DUP, which is fighting against it constantly over any sort of change.
I think, you know, I think a mistake a lot of people make is they think that unionists want to be English.
Yeah.
You know? But what they really want is like to protect Presbyterian values.
Yeah.
Like that's the goal.
Yeah.
And like that's why they don't like Sinn Féin. You know, it's not because Sinn Féin are Irish. Like historically, unionists consider themselves Irish.
Yeah.
They just don't. They don't like Catholics.
Yeah.
And like one of the big scandals with Arlene Foster, I think that really outed her, was that they were having a vote about like conversion therapy up there. Like, should they make gay conversion illegal?
Yeah.
And she abstained. And they were like, that's not good enough. Like, you have to be pro.
Yeah.
Because if you abstain, you're weakening on Presbyterian values.
How do you get that vicious? How do you get that like angry and fucked up in your head? You know,
It's literally, it's historically, that's the whole project of Northern Ireland.
yeah,
It's just like, when you read like old speeches and stuff, it's like, say when they were doing the Act of Union in the 1800s, to like create the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, or and Ireland, there were these speeches that were like, if this doesn't protect Presbyterian values, we don't want it. Like, we don't want to be in the union.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all about that. So it's just for like hundreds of years. It's like Catholics hate us, they're opposed to our way of life, and we have to protect that.
Yeah.
And then other stuff just gets folded into that, you know? It's incredibly vicious, and it's just like a form of colonial supremacy.
There was a documentary released by the BBC Three. By the BBC Three.
Yeah.
Released the BBC Three. Anyway, whatever. I think it was called the £1 Billion Party. And do you remember when Theresa May calls a snap election, and but for the actions of a bunch of fucking Labour shitheads, she might have actually lost. Well, she did.
Yeah.
They made losses, but they didn't
Outright lose.
Yeah. So then she had to form this ungodly coalition with the DUP, which led to who are the DUP being one of the most searched terms in British Google.
And they part of the deal to go in with the Tories was that the DUP would get £1 billion funded, something like that, wasn't it?
Where did that billion go? Do we know what happened with that? Did they even
No.
get it?
And it was also like, the conversation was like, where did it come from as well? Like, because the whole, you know, the Tories are such like, there's no money, you know, there's no magic money tree. And then when they want to get back in the
Keir Starmer
government.
actually said that last week, by the way.
Yeah. And then the DUP, they need the DUP, so they're like, how's $1 billion sound? You know?
So they were interviewing, it was just a very enlightening few clips where they went and they interviewed people in the north to try and be like, you know, it's just a BBC thing. It's probably not reflective of everything, but there was one interesting character in it who always sticks in my mind, where she's like, you know, I fucking hate the DUP. They're the worst. They suck. They're terrible. And then they're like, who are you voting for in the next election? It's like, well, the DUP. It's like, why? It's like, because I fucking hate Sinn Féin even more.
Yeah.
And all it is just like, there's never any like, it just doesn't feel like there's much excitement or love. It's just an entire like politics of hate, you know, that is creating the support for the DUP. And you're just like, I have no idea how you break out of that. And like, I have no idea what that mind is or how you become like that. I mean, I guess I get it, you know, like violence and all that type. I mean, yeah, we just look at fucking Israel. I mean, you know.
Yeah, like it's these are the same genetic stock as the Ulster Scots in America, as the Republican Party. You know what I mean? What's your man?
McConnell?
Like McConnell, like that's an Ulster Scots name, you know? It's like an Irish name, and it's literally that. Like, they go over, and like, just as this unionist identity relies on oppressing Catholics, the like conservative identity in America relies on oppressing other races.
Yeah.
Like, it's white supremacy. Like, if there is no one to oppress, that's a fundamental change in that identity. And like, originally it was like black people or like Catholics as well. Like, sure, the Ku Klux Klan, they're started up to oppress Catholics, not black people, you know? Because black people were successfully suppressed.
Yeah.
In that they were slaves, you know? So like, yeah, I think that's the way of thinking about it. Like, these hardline unionists think about Sinn Féin the same way that hardline Republicans see, like, the Black Panthers, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a fundamental threat to their identity.
Yeah. And when you said hardline Republicans, you meant American Republicans.
Yeah.
Also, to clarify what I meant when I said about Israel, it was this thing of like, sometimes they go like the people who no, I don't make this conflation. The people do though, which is like, you go, Jewish people suffered the Holocaust or Shoah.
Yeah.
You know? And you think like that would make you not want to do that. You wouldn't want to see that happen to anybody ever again.
Yeah.
But actually, that's not the case. You know.
Yeah.
With Israelis, it's like it actually just because that type of stuff, that violence and that hate, it's like it just is perpetuating. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think the conflation you could make is that like Jewish people believe that land was given them by God, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously not every Israeli thinks that way.
Yeah.
Some of them are just like, we're here, this is our country. Like, I deserve it for whatever reason. But like, the origin of the idea is religious, even if there's secular justification for it. And the same is true for Unionists. Like, they were given that land by a king who had divine rule.
Yeah.
So like if the king was the king because God wanted him to be the king, and the king gave you the land in Ulster, because God wanted him to do that.
Yeah.
So like the origin of unionism, it's the same. It's like a religious justification.
Yeah.
Even if like they have other justifications now, it's not rational.
How do you deal with that? How do you resolve any of that? Do you have any ideas? I mean, like,
I think that's why you just can't, like, engage with the bullshit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to identify, like, their supremacy and just never engage in debate in that. Because it's irrational. It's just always going to be there. You know?
Yeah.
If they're like, oh, we're just worried about, like, Catholic rule, there's no concession you can make.
Yeah.
That will make them comfortable. Because, like, it's not based on rationality.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's so insane when people like Neil Richmond are like, oh, we should commemorate the RIC. Or, like, Varadkar's, they're, like, inviting them to speak at the... I don't know if it was Radker or Anna Kenny, but there's once at the Fine Gael Ardèche, they invited unionist speakers. Or like they're more willing to talk to unionists than Sinn Féin. It's like, none of that matters. They're like, if you give a concession, unionists are going to be like, thanks, you know, but no, still no.
Yeah, we've incorporated it and now we're mad, like, we're still mad. You know?
Yeah, it's like again in America with their Republicans. It's like there's no concession you can make that they're going to be like, okay, that's fair, we'll give you yours. They're just going to be like, peace, thanks, peace out, see you later. What else you got?
Eurovision. Let's talk about Eurovision real quick. So this is like Ollie Alexander, who's you know the show It's a Sin?
No.
The Russell T Davies show about AIDS. Why is she laughing? That's what it is.
She doesn't say anything to say, I guess.
It is about AIDS.
Truth is, reality is stranger than fiction. Particularly when that reality is a show. You know?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you were watching Doctor Who, and they go to a planet where Russell T Davies wrote a show about AIDS.
Yeah.
You'd be like, this show's jumped the shark, get the woman back. I want to see... I want to see the woman, you know, go back in time and solve the like indigenous rights movement, you know?
Yeah. There's actually an episode that was released in, I think, 2018 or 2019, where she met Tesla. Just so long after that meme. That's just worn off, you know?
Yeah. Where she meets the guy who invents bacon. And she's like, you, sir, are the most epic human to ever exist.
Fam.
Fam.
That's her thing. That was her one thing, by the way, is that she would call them fam, her crew.
Really?
Yeah.
She actually did that.
She did. That is something she did. Yeah.
That's like...
Did I mention this already about how annoyed I was that so Jodie Whittaker regenerates into David Tennant, and then they have him regenerate into an entirely different suit. So it used to be a tradition that you wore the clothes of the previous Doctor because they're the same fucking guy, okay? And then, do you know what I mean? Like, Matt Smith wears David Tennant's old outfit for his first episode. Peter Capaldi wears Matt Smith's outfit for a bit of that episode.
Does he?
So on and so forth. And so then Jodie Whittaker is regenerating, and then all of a sudden her clothes regenerate as well. And I was like, they got to explain that, surely, don't they? And then they don't. They don't come up with any sort of thing within the show to explain that.
Yeah.
They just are like, I guess that just happened, you know? And then Russell T.
that
Davies
happened.
was like, yeah, I just thought it was, you know, we just didn't want to have a man wearing women's clothes as if it was like a gag, you know? Because I take drag very seriously. And it was like, she had the most like gender ambiguous clothes. She had like suspenders and a trench coat. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah, she dressed sort of like David Tennant.
Yeah, it was like anyway. So I was kind of annoyed by that. I was like, that doesn't seem like a good enough reason. And then when Shudigawa became the Doctor because of fucking bi generation, then they split the clothes between the pair of them. Right? So the first obviously gay Doctor spends their first time on screen running around in their underpants.
Yeah.
I just love that he's like, no, I thought it was in poor taste to do drag. But this gay guy, he's just going to be running around in his undies the whole time.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, they actually released a new trailer for Doctor Who, the new season, and it's like one of my worst fucking nightmares, honestly, because it's like the Disney version of the show. So they actually do a version, like a kind of, we were just making fun of it, taking a song and just slowing it down and making it sound ominous. And they do that for David Bowie's Change, you know. So, and then, yeah, that's it. What was I getting? Oh, yeah. Ollie Alexander was in It's a Sin, okay? And so he's going to be the entry for Eurovision 2024. And so then this post comes up, okay? And it's like a picture, white background text, you know? And you're like, hey, oh, great. He's going to do an announcement saying he's not going to perform in Eurovision, you know?
Yeah.
Because that seems to be like the obvious thing, you know? Why would you bother putting up a picture saying anything else, you know?
Yeah.
Because we already know that you're going to be in Eurovision. So he goes, we want to begin by acknowledging the privilege of taking part in Eurovision. In light of the current situation in the occupied Palestinian territories, and particularly in Gaza and in Israel, we do not feel comfortable being silent. It is important to us to stand in solidarity with the oppressed and communicate our heartfelt wish for peace, an immediate and lasting ceasefire, and the safe return of all hostages. We stand united against all forms of hate, including anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. We firmly believe in the unifying power of music, enabling peace to transcend differences and foster meaningful conversations and connections. We feel that it is our duty to create and uphold this space with a strong hope that it will inspire greater compassion and empathy. And that's what they said. It was like, so you're just telling us you're going to, I hear you, I'm still doing it, you know? Like, why did you post that at all? Do you know?
Yeah.
I just didn't understand that. And then like they're like, we are going to, let our, music speak for itself. Where it's like, no one can love me like you do. You know what I mean? Like, and then Israel is going to be like, wow, I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah. Like, what song were you sending into?
The Bambie Thug. Have you seen Bambie Thug?
Yeah, but what's her song? What was their song?
Their song was some lame ass shit. What is it again? What's it called? Doomsday Blue? Does that make sense? Lyrics.
Doesn't. It doesn't.
Where is this? They're from Cork as well. And yeah, and then they then decided to add an extra bit. They were like, let me get this open. Where is the other one? Oh, you son of a bitch.
Oh, you're going to love this song.
What's up?
Avada Kedavra.
No way. Is that the first lyric in their song?
Yeah.
A non-binary person quoting J.K. Rowling in their Irish Eurovision entry. Get ta fuck.
Avada Kedavra, I speak to destroy. The feelings I have, I cannot avoid. Through twisted tongues, a hex deployed on you. That pretties in your bed. That all the pretties in your bed escape your hands and make you sad. And all the things you wish you had, you lose. I know you're living a lie. Just gonna read the verses. Avada Kedavra, the thoughts in my head, the places I touch when lying in bed. The visions of you, the words that you said, undo my heartbeat buried in the ground. And to the strings I bind, you're bound. So when you sleep, you'll hear the sound.
It's about bondage.
For your romance I'd beg, steal and borrow. It's raining me hollow. You, I guess you'd rather have the star than the moon. You could slow dance me out of my sorrow. I guess you'd rather have the star than the moon. But your favourite colour compared to the others is doom. Doomsday Blue. So it's really important that song,
if you allowed the opportunity to change hearts and minds,
yeah,
I might get to go on a trip.
An acid trip.
There's people. So yeah, this is the other. Adding to this statement, Irish entry Bambie Thug says, in addition to our collective artist statement, personally I want to emphasise that my stance on double standards remains firm. As an Irish person with a shared history of occupation and a queer individual, I cannot and will not remain silent. I am aware of the cause to withdraw, but stepping back now would mean one less pro-Palestinian voice at the contest. My heart and solidarity has and always will lie with the oppressed, blah, 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 blah. But I just think that they're like, yeah, I'm going to go up on that stage and I'm going to say free Palestine, and then they'll just cut it out of... like, I was like, I'm going to go up with a flag. Oh, they'll just take away that flag. Like, even if you managed to get something through, they would just cut it out for the broadcast. Do you know?
So it's live, I suppose.
Yeah, but there's got to be a delay. There's no way that it's actually live. Like, also, the St. Patrick's Day parade, that was something that I noticed. I was like... There is just no Palestinian flags within a mile of that place. I was like, I find that really hard to believe that people didn't have Palestinian flags on St. Patrick's Day there, or that there wasn't any demos. But the way RTE filmed it, it's like, well, here's the stage. We've set it up. And there was just, I just imagine some guy there, like, following the footage and like, got one. Remove that, change shot. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to anticipate where all the Palestinian flags were going to be, or make sure that they weren't there. So yeah, to have a big party like Eurovision, and to have Israel there despite not being part of Europe, and then Palestine also not there, Palestine aren't, represented in Eurovision. And then also they booted out the Russians. Remember?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And now Israel has a Russian-Israeli entry.
Does it?
Yeah. And it's just really pathetic, honestly. And expect more from an Irish person and from somebody from Cork as well. Let me say it. Let me just fucking say it. I did say it.
Say what?
That I expect more from a person from Cork. Here's another headline as well. Charity watchdog examines cinema for cancelling Eurovision party over Israeli act. East London community venue has been accused of breaching Charity Commission rules and its own principles. This is from the Telegraph, so naturally it'll have that slant. The charity regulator is to examine a cinema's cancellation of London's biggest Eurovision screening party in protest against Israel's inclusion in the competition. The Rio Cinema in Dalston, East London, said last week that it would not hold the annual event this year and planned to organise fundraising for the Palestinian aid effort instead. The move by the cinema, which is run by the Rio Centre Dalston Limited, a registered charity, was condemned by the European Broadcasting Union, which organises the contest. It insisted Eurovision is non-political and not a contest between governments. The Charity Commission is now launching a regulatory compliance case to assess whether there has been wrongdoing in the cinema's decision to boycott Eurovision. And then a bunch of Tory MPs are quoted in saying that is obviously anti-Semitic to isolate the one Jewish state. Like,
it's so mad to so the cinema just don't want to do the Eurovision party.
Yeah, because of Israel.
And the governor like, you have to do it.
Yeah, you have to have a big party, and actually it's anti-Semitic that you don't want to do a party with somebody who's actively committing genocide and whose entry was until recently called October Rain. It's not political. It's not political at all. It's just that, like, Russia is not allowed to compete, obviously. Does Canada have an entry in the Eurovision? Am I wrong about that? Australia. Yeah. Whatever. Anyway, just that kind of... I don't know. Just that they go after you, do you know? You can't even just not...
Yeah.
You're like, do you know what? I don't feel comfortable doing this given what's happening, given there is starvation. Like, do you see there's something like amendment made to the International Criminal Court, or was the ICJ's ruling? And they're like, we need to see Israel doing more to help aid get in. And I was like, okay, good. And it was like, and they have to do this within 30 days. I was like, within 30 days? Is that the best you can fucking do? Serious, you know? Like, if somebody's starving to death, every day fucking counts, you know?
Yeah.
And you're watching this stuff, and it's like, they're genocidal, they are insane, and no, you don't get to go to the fucking party. You know, you don't get to have a big party and pretend that everything is fucking normal.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to be speaking truth to power at this. It's like fuck you, Will. Just take the fucking money if that's what you want. But don't try to pretend it's part of your grand scheme, you know?
I know. When is the Eurovision?
I don't know, May? It's funny as well about like going like with my art. Now we already pointed out how shitty the songs are anyway. But like if you're going to rank songs on how much of an impact they can have, Eurovision songs really have to be tied with football chants, don't they?
Lower,
because you could actually motivate a crowd to beat somebody to death with a football chant.
Yeah.
You know? But like that type of like football's coming home, it's the equivalent. It'd be like, on my art to reach these Israelis, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, probably what we should have said is 3 pro-Palestine activists arrested trying to block U.S. military planes Shannon Airport. So There's some good Irish people out there, good Irish artists out there doing the right thing. So up Emer Walsh.
Yeah, like Emer Walsh is representing Ireland in the Venice Biennale. It's a big deal. Yeah, they're right there blocking planes in Shannon.
Yeah. Fair fucks.
Yeah, like it's not beyond the realm of possibility that they'd lose some.
Yeah.
You know, it would be detrimental to their career, but it's obviously very important.
Yeah. Oh, did you pull it up? Cork City to introduce a pogo stick only lanes in a bid to boost eco-friendly transport. Fuck, that's crazy.
What? How did we not lead with that? That's Eamon Ryan, you know.
Oh.
Frick.
I just
can't
checked the
believe-
date. I can't believe it.
I can't believe that, like, we need so much stuff in this country, you know. We need, like, housing, we need trolleys. Focusing on pogo stick is typical.
But it is like something that would happen, though. Honestly, all jokes
the fact
aside,
that we completely believed it, we didn't even question it. It's like that's indicative of the state of Irish politics.
Do you know? Have you ever looked at the Village Twitter page?
No,
they are so weird.
I would not be doing. What? Why is it so?
No, it's just sometimes they like the tweets they put out just make absolutely no sense. But they actually did do a bit of an April jape, as it were. They go. Village, which normally avoids personal political endorsements, today endorses Alan Shatter for Europe, recognizing the consistent humanity and measured wisdom of his perspective on Gaza and his challenging contributions to the modern literary canon. And then Alan Shatter retweeted it going, I'll welcome the political and literary endorsement even on April 1st, wanting hostages released, conflict over, real peace, Palestinian citizens free of Hamas oppression and not casualties of war, an end to Israeli and Palestinian and he's just kind of like, doesn't have Twitter blue, just like desperately trying to fit it inside the character limit. Lots of spaces missing, lots of like ampersands instead of ands.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I'm really not bothered. I actually couldn't give a shit. Alan Shatter. Ex-assistant of Luke Ming Flanagan gets community service over. This is one of my favorite bits, and the way that they write about it. So basically, this guy got fired by Luke Ming Flanagan, and he was pissed off. So what he did is he had access to his social media account, okay?
Yeah.
And he pretended that Luke Ming Flanagan was tweeting skinny dipping Saoirse McHugh. And anyway, Luke Ming Flanagan was beside. He's like, I have been hacked. And he's getting furious, okay? Yeah. And this article just to me was incredibly funny because this is like a freaking Waterford whisper, okay?
I mean, I think he deserves to be hanged.
I think just get over it. Well, he brought him to court. Like, fucking, it's so stupid.
But, so, as far as I understand it, there is a leaked photo out there of Saoirse McHugh.
Yeah.
Nude.
What?
So, it's not like, oh, it's a joke where Luke fancies Saoirse McHugh.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a joke about Luke Ming Flanagan looking up like image-based sexual harassment.
Is there actually a photo?
I think there is. Obviously I haven't looked, but I read an article and they were talking about, they interviewed Saoirse McHugh and she was like, there's a photo out there and it's, you know, I'm over it, but like it really affected my family, all this sort of stuff.
Really? Okay, yeah, that does change things slightly.
No, like if it was just a joke about like he's looking up Saoirse McHugh,
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a big deal, but I think because there's actually a photo out there, changes the context a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the reason it's like a Waterford Whisper is because it's like a silly thing about like normal people, but then it's written with the gravitas that the news, you know, the paper voice, the newspaper voice.
Yeah.
So like, a former European parliamentary assistant has been handed 150 hours of community service after admitting to hacking Luke Ming Flanagan's Twitter account. Maybe I won't say their name. Maybe. I mean, it's in the paper, but
yeah.
But anyway,
it's not like we
Diarmuid-
don't say people's names at the podcast.
Diarmuid Hayes, 34, from Dublin, admitted to a Belgian court last month that he hacked the MEP's account and posted a tweet referring to Irish Green Party candidate Saoirse McHugh skinny dipping. The tweet posted on September 28, 2020 was shared from a third-party app known as TweetDeck without Mr. Flanagan's knowledge. Hayes told the court that he was upset with the MEP for not renewing his contract and published the controversial post as a joke after smoking cannabis. I just found that really funny. It's like he's just there at like night, just high, just like fuck this guy, just doing a little gag, and then it's like. However, the court heard that the social media post had led to Mr. Flanagan's family being put through hell, and the MEP was forced to seek therapy due to the online backlash. Really, Luke?
I know. I was laughing because I was like, part of me was wondering, was like, oh, was this like a? Who was the guy who leaked it? Like, was he just some? Sorry. All right. Thanks. He was like, I was like, is this just some Fine Gael parliamentary assistant who stuck with Luke Flanagan and doesn't like him, so he's causing trouble? But then I was like, no, it's a stoner. It's just another stoner.
Yeah, so good. According to the prosecutor, the post had been published in the early hours of the morning with a deliberate spelling mistake to make it look like the MEP had been drunkenly searching for photos. Again, I don't know. If there is an image out there, then I take this back. But the bit is perfectly executed as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it is.
The court heard that it was a calculated act of revenge and that Diarmuid Hayes had knowingly thrown the MEP's honour to the dogs. Mr. Flanagan said, you are a man without honour. Mr. Flanagan said that he did not accept Mr. Hayes' apology, saying, sorry doesn't add up. This was a cold, calculated and skillfully carried out attempt to destroy me. And the funny thing about that is they go, TweetDeck. So presumably he was like his social media admin sort of guy.
Yeah.
And he just he's opened up TweetDeck. He's already logged in. He goes, this is funny. I can schedule a tweet for later on at 4 a.m. And that'll be a bit of a laugh, you know?
Yeah.
And he's going like, this guy was like fucking a black hat or something.
Oh, yeah.
He's like sweating.
He's
There's
like,
Matrix binary over his fucking face into the wee hours of the morning.
He's like Littlefinger, like perfectly crafting this political execution. Whereas then it's like, Pornhub search, blowjob.
Siri, search porno.
Yeah.
Search pornography. Search.
Yeah. Well, do you remember? I don't know if you ever did this. There's remember the term for hacking on Facebook?
Yes. Ugh, not good.
And
I can't believe that we said that. You know.
I know, it's mad. I know. I remember someone was like, so the term was rape, and I remember when I was young, some older person being like, that's disgusting, like, just think about what word that is. And I was like, it's not actually that, you know?
Yeah.
Thinking of it, so
Come
lame.
on.
So
Get
lame
over
for not
it,
getting
granddad,
it.
you know?
Yeah. But the ones I always thought were funniest were like posting like as if they were searching for a girl's name. Like the status just being like Emer, whatever. Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
I always thought that was funny.
never did that, no.
Yeah, I was a bit of a hacker back in the day.
Some
Ones and
lady...
zeros, you know?
There was a lady who now works for freaking RTE. anyway, Jackie Fox, who's somebody who I had a few dates with back in the day, and she got a hold of my phone, and she did, Facebook sexually assaulted me. No, that don't whatever. Don't cut that bit out. But anyway,
Don't cut that.
don't put that bit out there. But anyway, she said, "Hey everybody, I'm so happy to say that I've got a job in LA and I'm going to be moving over to work on with Nickelodeon or something like that." And it's just like the meanest thing that anybody, like, 'cause I was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, that's whatever. But like, it got the most response out of any post that I ever got. Like thousands of people going like, "I am so happy for you.
I know.
I cannot wait for you to like." And it was just like having to tell them all, no, that was like somebody just lied. I'm actually a
That was
fuck
my
up,
girlfriend
you know?
joking.
Yeah,
Really funny.
she was my girlfriend.
That's awful.
Yeah,
I remember there was one when I was so stupid when I was younger, but I didn't do this, but my response to it, this guy I knew who was gay, and someone hacked into his account and put up loads of gay porn on his, like, actual screenshots and all this sort of stuff. I remember being like, that's a mad, frame. That's mad.
yeah.
Just being like, what stuff. Whereas now I realise it was like a homophobic,
That's crazy, isn't it?
Harassment. But at the time I was like, I saw it in the context of like,
Yeah,
hacking into someone's thing and saying like, I'm stupid.
yeah. It's funny that like nowadays they're like, everything's so toxic because of online, and I was like, it's actually comparatively less toxic than it was before. Like, some of the shit that was on there,
Yeah, really is. Like, now the toxicity is like, it's like moral, it's people being like, you shouldn't do this, or what you did was wrong. Whereas back in the day, it was like homophobic assault,
Yeah.
or like swatting someone's house.
There was no natural ending to this episode. Thanks for listening.